As soon as I get the chance, I'm going to leave America. Because this country is not the country it used to be before. In my history class, which was offered online, I was asked a prompt for my final exam, which I recently did. And I wrote a lot on that. Of course, I'm crazy, right? I got like a 98 on that. But that's because I actually wanted to answer it. And the question was, what is the definition of the American today? And that was a very deep question. 100 years ago, the American was someone who was industrious, someone who was economically advanced, someone who had won the war, someone who had domination over every other country. But now, what is it? Now, when I personally think of the American, I think of weak people. I think of someone who's fighting in the politics, someone who's out on the streets robbing people, someone who's always complaining about their disadvantage, always in the victim mentality. Are these Americans? Are these the people we've become? Because I only moved here about 3 or 4 years ago. And ever since then, yes, I can say there is a lot of opportunity here. I can say there's a lot of new land that can be developed, that can be turned into something much greater. But that's not the reason I'm saying I'll leave. Opportunity is great, but COVID has taught us that opportunity can be achieved through the internet as well. If you have an IT job or any job that's related to the internet today, you can pretty much work from anywhere. And the best country to work from is the one which has the least amount of corruption. Now, you're delusional if you think the United States does not have corruption. Because right now, what I see is control. Massive, massive control. I'll give you an example. Why do people have to keep their lawns clean? By government, by law, you are told you have to keep your lawn clean and keep all the weeds off. Now, of course, it's probably better if you do, or else it'll spread and it'll get to everywhere, right? But is there any public danger in that? Why is the government all of a sudden told everyone that if you don't keep your lawns clean, we will arrest you? Because at some point that has happened. Matter of fact, it happened to us once. Everyone was lazy. I didn't cut the grass. I was supposed to cut the grass. My fault. I, I didn't cut the grass for like a month. And all the weeds grew out. And the next day, we see this little fine. Like, so they came to our door and they hung it on the doorstep, the door handle, the doorknob. And it said, here's a fine for $400. You didn't cut your grass. What? It's grass. If we didn't cut our grass, someone comes over, they're like, why didn't you cut your grass? It's more of a personal hygiene thing. That's like getting a fine for not showering for 3 weeks. I'm not sure why you wouldn't do that. Of course, that's personal hygiene, but you shouldn't be forced to do that. And this was just one of the things that we've done over the hundreds of things that the American government has done to try and control us. The biggest example we've seen in the modern day is COVID. And they might be asking, okay, I'm not going to talk too much about that, but you might be asking, okay, why am I talking about freedom? Because America is considered a free country. America is considered one of the freest countries with the best opportunities, with the ability to do anything. As I grow up, I realized that first I was looking for freedom to do things, freedom to go outside, freedom to talk to anyone, freedom to drive. Right? This is because our parents usually keep us under these constraints, and as we experience these things, we feel like, okay, this is great, this is nice. We have the freedom to do this, I have the freedom to do this. But now, as I get older, I've gotten most of my freedom twos. Now, what I'm looking for is freedom from. I want freedom from my desires. I want freedom from the government. I want freedom to do anything I want. And I've reached that point where I have the freedom to do anything I want. Now I just want freedom from things, from entities, from single big generations of things. In this case, it's the United States government. Because right now, it's in one of the worst places it's been ever. The president of the United States was banned from Twitter. They'd cut out his ability to communicate. And if you look at the recent Twitter files that came on, Elon Musk releasing everything, what a god. He released every single thing about how one side was paying. I'm not going to mention all this stuff, but you can search it up. All of that was happening. And this just shows that governments really want power. It shows that there is some level of corruption. And it's bigger than you think it is. I'll give you the COVID example. If I had diabetes, I had type 3 diabetes. I think that's one of the worst, or type 1 is one of the worst. I went to the doctor. They said, okay, here's 400. Get some insulin. It's $400 for 1 month supply. Now I could go to Germany and get a 1 month supply for about $10. That's a different conversation. But they're like, okay, doctor's like, okay, $400 or 1 month supply. But now all of a sudden they're telling us to get a vaccine. You're getting messages from the NHS 4, 5, 6 times a day. Oh, come get your vaccine. You can't enter anywhere without a vaccine. They won't let you enter school without a mask on. They won't let you enter school without some form of a vaccine. It had gotten that bad. Isn't that not a level of control? Now you might be saying, oh yeah, it's for the general population. Okay, make them better. Okay, that's cool. Right, it should be for the general population. It should be a suggestion. It should not be an order, but a suggestion. Because if it was an order, that would say that the government wants to control you. They want to say, because this is good for the general public, you should follow it. This is not an argument about left or right. This is an argument about freedom. What is right? Because if someone is telling you to do something, even if it's for the benefit of someone else, it should be a suggestion. You should not be forced to clean your lawn simply because the government said to do it. You should be forced to clean your lawn because your neighbors look at it and be like, bro, what are these guys doing? I don't like it. Could you please clean that up? And if it bothers the neighbors, yes, that should be a part of the law. But not because it bothers the government. So as I talk about this, I think, okay, what's an alternative? Because almost every country has some level of corruption. Every single one. And then I was thinking, okay, what are countries that wealthy people live in? Or at least have their companies established? Because if you look at it properly, you probably don't know about this, but most companies are not actually established within the United States. There are very little that are actually established. Some run their headquarters from, say, some random country in like Africa. Because I think one of the taxes in one of the African countries is literally zero. Income tax is literally zero. I know in Dubai, income tax is literally zero. And if you look at Dubai, if you think of Dubai, it's one of the wealthiest cities in the world. It holds some of the most wealthiest, most high-known people. Now, why is that? Why do the rich people flock there? Why do the rich people flock to Eastern Europe? Why do they flock to these places where almost nobody knows about them? Because they want freedom from. They want freedom from the government. Because there will come a day when people want to impose taxes on the rich, because it always comes along. Now, of course, the rich always find some way, because you can't tax stocks. You can't tax someone's stocks that they haven't sold yet. That's why Elon Musk's net worth, by the way, is so high, because he just has stocks that he hasn't sold ever. So they can't tax him. Once he sells them, he can get taxed. But then there's so many other extra stuff. They're trying to escape the government. So I'm looking, okay, where's the highest concentration of these wealthy people? It's Dubai. Dubai has one of the highest concentration of wealthy people. Why is this? Low income tax, clean cities, not much imposition of the government. Sure, in some cases there may be some control, but it's not as high as it is here. And here's another big problem. The level of influence that we have from our teachers is extremely high. I think it's in India it's also really bad, because in India we have a group of people that are told exactly what to do, exactly what to believe. This is how you're supposed to live. This is how you live. There's no level of creativity. Now in America, yes, there is some creativity. Simply put, because there's so many opportunities here. The GDP per individual here is much higher than any other country. I think it might be higher in one or two, but not much. And because of that, we're able to live a much more lavish life, but yet we keep on chasing more. Again, different conversation, but the idea here is that once you live in this country, you start understanding why some people are fleeing it. Why some people think that this is not a great country to live in. I think as time goes on, you'll start understanding, unless something happens, unless someone actually really, really good comes into office, or someone comes along and says, okay, this is not right, this is what's going on, and people forget about their prejudices, and this is a dream environment, it'll never happen. So once I get rich enough, I have the ability to leave this country. Through all the opportunity I can harness, I'm going. I'm gone. You're not going to see me. I'm not living here anymore. This is not the best place to live at all. I'll live here until I have to, and I'm leaving. Because the internet has shown us through COVID that jobs can be done virtually. And if it can be done virtually, it can be done from literally anywhere. I'd go to the country with the most benefits, with the least income tax, with the least need of living. It could be Dubai. It could be Japan. Not Japan. It could be Thailand. It could be somewhere in Eastern Europe. But I just want to let you know that this is not the best country anymore. It is financially, it is in terms of living, it is in terms of opportunity. Yes, that's true. If you need that, please come here. Please come chase money, earn it, earn enough, and then leave. Because although there may be freedom to do things, you don't have the freedom from the government. And you almost never will. And that is where the future is progressing. Find out who controls you, what you believe, and why. Question it and make up your own morals. You'll have a guiding compass in life.